This video will cover the lore I've put together regarding Wuthering Waves. We're going to be breaking down resonators, how they're formed, and the lament and its consequences. Now, this was from gameplay taken from Closed Beta 2 and the story it has provided, which means it is subject to change. But let's get into it. Sol 3 is the planet this game takes place in, and is racked by a catastrophe that happened about 200 years ago called the Lament, or the Scream. New things emerged, old rules were invalid, and one thing that you should know that matters in this world is that all matter has its own sound. Yang Yang said something of this nature after you absorb the crownless. Everything in our world is made up of frequencies, and every sound generates a vibration. Now, the definition of sound is a vibration that travels across a medium, like air, water, or a solid, the sound being a unifying element of all matter. Considering that the properties of matter are governed by the way sound vibrates, if you're one of these resonators affected by mutation, you should also create your own sounds to amplify the existing sound around you, forcing the sound around them to change in various degrees and elements in a way. The people who can do this are called resonators. They manipulate the energy around them, grant powers by violently use of vibrations and energy to create an event called resonance energy. Now, all resonators have a forte mark or a tacit mark. According to experts, a resonator's abilities are often influenced by their past memories and experiences and subconscious mind. Awakening is the underlying birth of a resonator who becomes susceptible to the perception of these frequencies. And further on this topic that might make everyone a little bit happier is a few of our resonators in the roster actually have contaminated frequencies. This implies in a very story-like manner that their powers are weaker, and the further we go on in the story, the stronger they can get, which probably means a new design for the same character like they do in PGR. Okay, but let's get back to the world. The lament caused a couple other things to happen. It had the ability to create new substances and create new interactions between those substances with biological organisms faced with genetic information and transmute them, granting them enhanced or entirely new properties. Civilization was on the verge of extinction. We have some things here and there telling us that before the lament, humanity was thriving in a golden age, in a state of rapid development, and had probably something to do with the lament itself. And these precursors of the lament created numerous phenomena that gave us new resources and a literal extinction event of the lament itself. The first natural thing to happen after the lament was the formation of tacit fields. These themselves are a hotbed of very different and novel occurrences, but the tacit field itself is very interesting because of what it's called. Because tacit in music means directing an instrument to be silent. So Are the tacit fields a rip in space and time or just a rip in matter? It's very interesting that the field emerges from the seams of the ground, emitting golden particles. Emitting golden particle. The tacit fields are thought to be where tacit discords originate. These locations feature an inverted sky, a deep cross-shaped mark on the ground. Reverberations fill the air, linking our world to an unknown space through a white resonance chord. These areas attract tacit discords even to seemingly congregate in these areas. Now, this inverted C is something interesting, and Yang Yang tells us, quote, "The etheric sea I just mentioned is a special type of abnormal weathering phenomenon. The sky appears to resemble that of an upside-down ocean surface. Typically, where an etheric sea phenomenon appears, a tacit field is about to form on the ground. However, the formation of a tacit field is unpredictable. For now, we only know that etheric sea indicates an immediate formation of a tacit field." Now, what does etheric even fucking mean? It means a few things, but the one I specifically attach to is relating to heavens or a spiritual world or a plane of existence. And souls exist in a vast domain diversely referred to by mystics as the etheric realm, heaven, or the afterlife. Now, another thing I find interesting about tacit fields is that if an ordinary person stays close to or near a tacit field for too long, their nervous system becomes incoherent and it may impede their logic and may even become delirious in some cases. It's just weird how this area just affects everything around it, including the people. However, tacit fields are dormant sources of tacitite, other rocks that seem to be almost everywhere in the world now. And the closer they are to these tacit marks, the purer and highest quality they are. These marks are almost like literal wounds in the earth. And the tacitite itself are like jagged notches in the earth that bleed gold into the air. Now, the tacitite that is extracted from these areas are taken to processing plants and through scientists of chemistry manufactured into different products like new metal called Wuthering, I know, very original, chemical compounds like Witheride, again, original as fuck, and contributed to active biological fields like and local medicine. Now, the enemies of Wuthering waves are either called mutant organisms or tacit discords. Mutant organisms are your run-of-the-mill animals that experience numerous mutations and adapt to the ecosystem around them that happen because of the lament and because of the tacit fields in the environment. Not much more is known about these, they're just evolved. But the tacit discords emerged sometime after the lament and engaged in a bloody war with humanity. Tacit discords are creatures formed from a tacit-like substance from the fields themselves. Mindless creatures, don't know fatigue, only hostility to anyone who comes near them. Now, these things kind of mimic forms and ideas or echoes of the lingering things that happened in the spaces that they came from. Now, the apex of these tacit discords are called the theologians. They are formidable creatures which have the power to destroy the human spirit and feed off the collapsed will. They represent hidden fears and inner turmoil of humanity, causing destructive disasters known as other tacit discords or other phenomenal events. In essence, they are a reflection of the collective will of humans condensed into a physical form born from the dark side of that collective conscience. Now, even apex predators have an apex, and of the theologians, there was 6, the crownless being one of them. These 6 were the ones really providing all the backbone for the war in the past. And a mysterious feathered midnight ranger was the one to seemingly seal them away.
Archive Resonance Evaluation Report on the first resonator. Time of evaluation, year of way. Resonator name, redacted. Resonance assessment, RA 1001-G. Residence evaluation report. Resonator reports amnesia regarding their resident's ability with no clear time of awakening.
Now, this report you find in the Academy is a case that was dismissed, but it has a lot of similarities to the amnesia you as Rover suffer at the same time. And another important data entry that I would like to show everybody is this one.
Overclock Diagnostics Report. During the Battle of Gorges and Spirits, a resonator emerged in combat with an unidentified tacit discord, resulting in a high-risk victory and resolution of the crisis. Morale of the army was boosted. They achieved the victory. 3 days later, the battle concluded in triumph, with the soldiers reported seeing the resonator standing alongside the dissenting Jouet. This event marked the founding of the genre in the same year.
Now, this description of Jouet descending reminds me distinctly of when Rover comes to the very same gorge and sees a vision of Jouet descending towards them. Does that mean Rover's visions are memories or just a reflection of what happened and what's going to happen later? Even Gen Z, resonator connected with Jouet, has stated that she has seen the memories of Jouet and she does remember something similar happening, and that we are very similar to it. And later on doubles down and says, and I quote, "Rover, after recent events, I trust you have gained a general idea of who you might have been before you fell into a deep slumber." Is this a coincidence? I think not. Were we really in slumber, or were we in the space between, inside of a tacit discord or inside of a tacit field, whatever that might be, of where we woke up at the start of the game? And I think it's all but confirmed that you were the past resonator that sealed the past theologians, and that after you awake, those golden lights you see leaving you are the theologians escaping. And this is probably where the story is going to take us. Now, let me know if this was a good guide to the lore of Wuthering Waves, or give me some constructive criticism. I'll probably be doing some more character breakdowns, stuff like that, and more guides as more information comes out. I like to see you all in game. Thank you very much for watching. See you later.